Okay guys, blenders in this classroom are located over by the sinks. So in station 2, which is where I'm at right now, the cabinet is labeled, but it's down to the left of the sink here. And in station 1, it's down to the right of that sink, and again, they are labeled, okay? So when you get a blender out, you want to make sure that you have all of the parts to go with it. You should have a blender base, of course, the blender pitcher that you put all the ingredients in, and then a lid that fits. So you can just make sure that your lid fits tight on top so you don't spill while it's blending, okay? The lids also have this little removable piece, and you want to make sure that that's in where it belongs before you get started. But it does come out of there, and that way if you wanted to add in liquids or needed to add anything else in while it's blending, you could do that. I suggest you not do that just because you could have a mess over here. So let's just keep that piece on for now. Make sure it's on there, that the lid fits on tightly. And then you just set the pitcher on top of the blender base. You don't have to screw it in. You just set it on there so that it's secure and you're good to go. You should not have your blender plugged in until everything is assembled and set up, and probably until you actually have the ingredients in the blender. I'm not actually making anything today, I'm just showing you the parts and pieces. But when it's all ready to go, you then plug it into the outlet and you can push the buttons and get it going, okay? The blenders in this classroom have a couple of different options. There's a high and a low speed button here, and we just keep that on like the high speed. Of course, there's the off button. There's mince, grate, blend, shred, grind, and liquefy. And then a little pulse button. It's really loud and annoying, I'm sure. So that's just one quick little spurt of the blender, okay? For the most part, you will just need to use the blend button in this classroom. If you find that your blender is working, cruising along, but whatever is in here, say it's a smoothie, is just too thick and it's not mixing anymore, you can turn off the blender and take the lid off, and using either a wooden spoon or a plastic spoon like this or a rubber spatula, you can scrape the sides of the blender. You can mix it with either of those so that it continues to mix. And then when you take the blender off and you're portioning it into a cup, it's always good to pour it out and then again either use a spoon or a rubber scraper spatula to scrape out the rest, okay? Now, as far as washing a blender goes, the easiest, most efficient way to do it is to disassemble it or to take it apart. So our blenders here, most blenders, the bottom twists off, so righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? The bottom comes off, that's, and then the blade comes out of there. All right, and the blade has a little rubber piece on it. So when it's all disassembled, you will have these 4 pieces. Sorry, can't get the rubber piece off. Okay, so the rubber piece, the blade, and then this goes the outer I guess, I don't even know, piece that holds it all together, okay? And then the lid. So when you go to wash a blender, these are all the pieces you should have apart and that they should be washed. So these go into your hot soapy water, okay, in your white bucket where we always do dishes. Other than the blade, of course, you don't want to drop that down in there. And you wash the blade just as if you were washing a knife. So you get your dishcloth wet with hot soapy water and you just carefully wipe the blade down, of course, and then you rinse it with warm water, and then you dry it with your drying towel, okay? And you put those, and then you'll reassemble it to put it away, okay? So this will go down in your soapy water, and these pieces all go down in your soapy water. You get all the smoothie or whatever off of them. And then to reassemble it, you put the piece of rubber back over top of the blade, okay? And this goes on to the bottom of the blender. Let's see if I can do this with, yeah. And then the outer piece twists on. And then the lid should be cleaned as well. Okay. And this goes back down below here. You should have a wet dishcloth. Got my soapy water over here. And you should wipe down, of course, unplug first. And you should wipe down the blender base to get any chunks of food or any liquid off that might have spilled. Nice and clean. And that also goes down below as well, okay? So that's the basics to using a blender. Next week we will practice more with that, and you'll get to actually make something with the blender and eat it. Everyone's favorite part, right? Okay, let me know if you have any questions.